r/AskReddit by Reddit and chill. What screams I'm very insecure. Constantly wedging humble bragging into conversations. My friend Jerry Seinfeld and I were just talking about this the other day. Automatically assuming negative intent. Egg. You friend didn't pick your call? Duck her. She's trying to avoid me. I don't care about her anyway. Had a friend who, while I took a nap, texted me. I noticed you didn't share your chocolate bar with me at lunch. Are you mad at me? Are we even friends anymore? 2 hours later. I guess I have my answer. Trying to dominate conversations, not to be confused with just being a charismatic person. I know a guy who will talk forever, on and on about something that may or may not be interesting to anyone but him in the first place. If anyone has something else to say that leads to a small tangent or participation of other people in the room, he becomes visibly annoyed and will bring it back with an anyway at the earliest opportunity and continue ranting. I don't like him. Edit. A lot of people are saying that they feel like they are this person. Just to clarify, it's not just the fact that he talks a lot and tends to be ranty that annoys me. Some people just have very active brains. And sort of runaway thought patterns, if you will. And I get that. It's the fact that he seems offended that anyone would dare steal his conversation spotlight and want to participate that screams insecurity. When people have and insist on constantly checking on their so via some tracking up on their phone. It's one thing to have it and use it in case of emergency. But using it while out with your friends to make sure he's actually at work is creepy and super insecure. Lying about your opinions and views to fit in while cancelling somebody who thinks the exact same as you but chooses to express it. This is a self-roast, but I think I degrade myself just to hear others deny it. Is that insecure? I do this and I definitely think it comes from a desire to get ahead of it, like, if I put myself down first, then how badly can it hurt if someone agrees? It's created a cycle of almost compulsive negative self-talk that I'm trying to deprogram. I mostly see this at work. People who are in upper management and treat people like garbage just because they can. Being unnecessarily mean, rude or bitter to people. Treating new employees like garbage just because you're threatened they might take your job someday. People who automatically assume that if you disagree with them, you must have a subjective, personal reason to do so. If possible even related to your own insecurities. Simply not true. I've found that a lot of people on Twitter that feel the need to post about how great of a person they are and they have nothing but good intentions are usually the most toxic people I've seen. It's like they're trying to convince themselves. I also notice that the things they write about themselves are the kind of things you should let other people say about you. It's just tacky. As an insecure person, I find it hard to look people in the eyes. I also find it hard to tell any stories about myself. Because I'm afraid people will think I'm lying. Or that I won't be part of the group because of personal differences. I always think everyone is better than me. I can see all the good in everybody. But I know that they see all the bad in me. Insecure people stand in the corner and don't join the group. I feel you, friend. There's something about eye contact and conversing where if I'm saying something I'll worry, shoot, do they think I'm lying? Wait, what if I am lying? And then obsess over the criteria that meets the situation. Example. I love cookies. But wait, do I like cookies more than other people? I don't eat them that often, so can I really say I love them? A silly little example, but my ability to rationalize needs a little help. Clicking on this post to see if any of the top comments are things you do. It's nice to confirm I'm not a total piece of shit. If I am, how can I improve as a person? All those people who post on Facebook those quotes that are like, don't worry about those who talk behind your back. They're behind you for a reason. Or they tag themselves into any and every place, including the doc's hospital, somewhere personal. Then when someone asks if they're okay, they reply with, don't ask Hans Oxox. So basically, people who live their lives through very active social medias, I suppose I'm trying to say. I've always thought the hospital thing especially weird. Also weird. I have symptom of something which may require an ER or urgent care visit. What should I do? Maybe go to the ER or urgent care? These are people with health insurance. Mind you, I can see posting to see if anyone else has had X symptom or condition. Or what questions to ask your doctor. Just not shutting up about yourself. Constantly lifting yourself up and comparing yourself to others. While pushing them down. Also, constantly putting yourself down and comparing yourself to others. People who always have to one-up you in everything. If you tell a story, they have a better one. If you buy something expensive, they have to be something even more expensive. Some people's whole life is trying to win some non-existent competition. My brother and I hung out with a guy for a while who was the absolutely king of one-upping people. It got to the point where we would make up slightly unbelievable stories to see how he would one-up them. Here's some of the gems he presented us. His father competed in an underground street fighting league with a titanium leg. He once watched a man get hit in the face with a severed penis. And he shot a metal target 100 yards away. Blindfolded. Judging its location from the sound of someone else shooting the target. Clarification on the flying dong. So, he claimed to have been an EMT for a year, which didn't seem possible with the timeline of his life. But that's beside the point. And he drew a lot of his stories from his EMT days. One day, he says, he's working with a guy who's been an EMT for 30 years. They get a call about some domestic violence. So they head to the house where the police are already inside. Our friend says he stepped into the house ahead of the veteran EMT. And he was greeted by a screaming woman waving a severed penis at the two police officers already inside. As soon as she saw him, she hurled the coke right at his head. And he ducked out of the way. The airborne penis flew through the threshold of the door, striking his EMT partner in the face. The man looked down at the bloody dong on the ground, looked up at our friend, the police, and the still screaming woman, threw up his hands and yelled, "That's it. I ducking quit," and turned around and walked off. He said he never saw him again. Women that guard their men like a soldier. I was leaving an abusive relationship. My friend offered me a place to stay. The hitch was if she wasn't there and just her husband was, I had to leave. I got a hotel room, not dealing with that. I had a co-worker, 20, who used to stay with her aunt because her parents wanted to travel for a year. She wanted to leave so bad because the aunt did not want her home if only the husband was home. The most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. When you question yourself, do they actually like me or are they pretending to? Or when you think you're gonna bother other people if you talk to them. Edit. Jesus Christ. I wasn't expecting so many replies. I hope you all are doing great. In college I had a friend who seemed to believe that everyone in our friend group was just pretending to like him or just tolerating him. He seemed to believe this because occasionally he would pick up on subtle signs of irritation towards him. What he didn't understand is that even if you are good friends with everyone in a group, that doesn't mean that no one in the group will find you annoying from time to time. Just for him. One day I pulled him aside and got out a pen and paper. I created what I called the tilt web. I wrote everyone in this friend group's name on the paper, forming a circle of names. Then I proceeded to draw arrows between names. I said each arrow represents that the person who the arrow is pointing to is sometimes slightly annoyed by the person the arrow is drawn from. All 10 people on the group except one had at least one arrow to and at least one arrow from them. The problem with this kind of insecurity is that they won't believe someone if they are simply told that they are fine. They understand that if someone doesn't really care about them, it's still a lot easier to tell them that they are fine, even if they aren't. Now that we have both graduated, he mentioned that he hasn't forgotten me drawing that web and that it was a lot more meaningful to him than me just telling him that he is fine. People whose self-esteem is so low that they can't stand the sight of people with high self-esteem. So they will try to break down anyone they perceive as more successful than them. When a group of this type of people comes together, a major crab bucket mentality arises and they will target people perceived as highly competent or successful for bullying, gossip, false rumors, and other things that should have been wiped out after elementary school. Oof, you just described one of my co-workers. So glad she transferred to another department. I deal with insecure moms a lot. Either at the playground or mommy groups. They're insecure about what milestones their child is hitting and how they are doing as a mother. One of the biggest tells is when they brag about something that's clearly a lie, or even a partial truth. My 3-year-old is reading at a first grade level. Okay, but he's eating grass right now and just pooped himself. You see it a lot on social media now. My 20-month-old is potty trained. Having several accidents a day and needing a diaper whenever she sleeps is not potty trained. Yeah, moms are pretty judgy and many mommy groups are toxic, but most of can tell when you're lying and it screams insecure. I have a niece and nephew that are a month apart and Jesus Christ, the competition is real. Like, how can you be mad that your nephew has more teeth than your kid? Who ducking cares? Bragging about things not even in your control. Like your parents' wealth. Even worse, I have a friend who likes to brag to girls at the bar about how successful our other friend is because his parents have a successful business that he is taking over. Super cringy. I used to be very insecure, so I'll go from my own experience. Lying about something to seem cool. It's very obviously a signal of insecurity because they don't like who they are now. I have a brother who does this. He's so insecure about whether people see him as an idiot that he's getting his PhD so he can officially be the smartest person in the room wherever he goes. Almost verbatim. Dude lies pathologically about the dumbest shit. Oftentimes, people don't know the difference between telling it like it is and just being flat out mean. People who tell it like it is only give their opinion when it is warranted because they would want someone to tell them the truth instead of dancing around it. However, some can cross this line and just be straight up rude. While using this same reasoning, those who tell it like it is are secure. Those who are unnecessarily mean are insecure. Not exactly a direct answer to your question. But I've always thought this and wanted to share. Edit. Thank you for silver. Interestingly enough, many people who tell it like it is don't like it when others do the same to them. Dismissing people before they dismiss you. People who feel the need to judge everyone in a negative light and who only want to see the worst in others so they can feel better about themselves. It just shows how unhappy they truly are. Ironically, people like this also feel like they are judged unfairly and constantly by the world. One-upping people constantly in conversations. Or bragging about how much better you can do something than others can. Which is a much better comment than yours was. Scene. Gets a notification on phone. XGF. Who's chatting to you now? Me. It's a game notification. Me. Goes to shower. Me. Comes back to find GF going through every message. Email and WhatsApp. Does that scream I'm insecure? Edit 1. Thanks for the responses. I got out of that relationship last year and I'm dating someone of a far better mind and someone who trusts me. Edit 2. I coded my phone, she figured it out, then I used my fingerprint. Edit 3. My ex was very insecure and would often follow and check my every move. Edit 4. I will respond as best I can. Does that scream I'm insecure? Among other things. Being unnecessarily mean-spirited to people. Had a guy threatening to kick the shit out of me if I told anyone he was dyslexic. BF. Alright, I'm going to work, babe. GF. You better not be ducking with beaches at work. Funny story. A few years ago my husband and I were sharing a car. One day I noticed a note under the windshield wiper that said something like "You're cute. Call or text me, phone number." We thought it was funny that we didn't know who the note was intended for since we had both been driving the car. My bills, no ex-girlfriend heard us talking about it and said, if I ever found a note like that on Bill's car, I'd be so pissed. I'd probably call her and cut her out. Okay. Yay. Totally reasonable reaction. Joint Facebook profiles. Don't you bring my grandpa and grandma into this. Posting what you're up to every day on social media. Or the vague ugh. I'm so upset right now. Status where they're praying that someone asks what's wrong. If you want to say what's bothering you, do it. Don't clickbait your own status. Saying I'm so random or I'm so funny on a regular basis. I bought a mattress the other day and the salesman had a chin strap and blue flames tattooed up his arms. When I finished checking out, he came up behind my mom and I and said, very seriously, just so you know, people call me firearms. Later that same day, My dad and I were in the parking lot at Lowe's and a guy with spiked hair pulled into the parking lot in a convertible blasting Crazy Beach by Buckcherry. I like to think he and firearms were separated at birth. Edit. I am from the Jersey Shore. While I think that should clarify some things, this is douchey behavior even for here. Oh. Why do they call you that? Be as sincere as possible and make him spell out every element of it until eventually you go, oh. I get it. Because a firearm is a word for a kind of gun, but what you've done is got a picture of fire on your arm, so it's like a kind of pun. I don't really like puns. Ducking like and subscribe.